there. So there we go in 3, 2, and 1. Well, Richard, welcome back to Mayor's Monday here at WSAU, WSAU.com. I guess I don't know if you want to call it. It's our annual chance to chat about what's going on down there in the village of Kronenwetter, but we're certainly glad to have you back on the air here and back in for Mayor's Monday.
Appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, absolutely. And you always, last time we talked, which again was about a year ago at this time, you told me Kronenwetter is just kind of a nice place where you can go stretch your legs out. You got some industry. You're very heavily, though, on the residential side and the heavy machinery side of it. I mean, what has the last year like been down in Kronenwetter outside of a certain COVID-19 virus that's been dominating the headlines since March?
So we this year we finished up our second portion of our bike path, which is just an exciting project just along Kronenwetter Drive. So that's going to link up real nicely with our other bike path. It's on Old 51. So you'll eventually be able to go from the southern part of the village down by Indian Head Golf Course all the way to the up by Kowalski, eventually to Rothschild in a couple of years. So it's kind of exciting for that, for those walking, biking, for those that want to get outside. And then, for that, and then we've had a little bit of changeover in staff. We just hired a great new finance director this year. So we pulled her from Marathon County. So very exciting to have Miss Richmond with us. Really qualified, and we're in the process of looking for a new public works director. Our previous public works director got a great opportunity in the private sector, so we went to go work there. So a couple of changes of faces, and then we're also looking for someone to kind of head up our newsletter system with our community specialists position we're opening up. So it's a part-time position with the village. So we're doing a lot of hiring this year. So I think overall the building boom with outside of just kind of the regular stuff has really continued in Kronenwetter. We're doing a lot of single family homes, a lot of permits this year, a lot of people improving their houses because they're at home a lot more. So, and I'm trying to honestly stay away from the COVID piece of it because I mean, honestly, probably everybody hears that. Although we did have a couple of people test positive here at the municipal center, including myself. So that was kind of an interesting experience, to say the least. I don't want to minimize. It's a serious disease and serious situation. So I was off for a couple of weeks. Feeling better now. So, but had some other people off in the building as well. So we've kind of managed that pretty well. The budget is done for 2021. Just a very slight increase to the overall taxes it's probably on a home of $150,000, just a little bit over 1% increase, so not very much at all. And then we are bringing in our first big commercial kind of department store. We're bringing in a Dollar General. It's going to go on the west side of the village, so we're very excited to have them come to us. So, and let me see what else. Let me stop right there and see what questions you would have.
Yeah, absolutely. You gave us a lot of good information there. We're going to talk about your COVID experience coming up here in just a bit. But first, the outdoor bike path and recreation trail, that is something that we have talked about before. I just want to ask you again, the interest in amenities like this and the investment that the village makes in something like that. What do you see as the return on it for your residents? Why is it that it's important for you to spend money on things like that?
Well, people just when they're looking for to buy a home, to put a new home in, they're always asking about things such as amenities, parks, schools. I want to be able to walk and bike. I mean, Kronenwetter, you can really stretch your legs. And, and the bike path, I can honestly say the paths that we have are really just being utilized this year, especially because, people can go walking and spend a nice time outdoors, and it's off the kind of the little bit off the beaten path. So that way you can really just enjoy the kind of the overlook. At one point, our bike path that we finished last year overlooks the Wisconsin River. So it's just a nice wooden path or wooden bridge that you can see there. And we're going to continue to probably expand on amenities to village residents because dog park, bike paths, parks, getting outside. Our farmers market is always really hugely well attended. Movie under the stars, those type of things. It brings us together. I mean, we can't, unlike like a Rib Mountain or Weston or something. I can't say that's our main street. But when we can come together as citizens in our parks together, in our bike paths, in our movies under the stars, that's really what makes us a real nice community for people.
And you mentioned being able to get out there and stretch your legs a little bit. That kind of goes hand in hand with the building boom that you talked about, the permits, the people improving their houses. Is that how you've kind of planned things to give people a little more space in between, maybe the little bigger yard area for a dog, maybe area for a garden and things like that?
Exactly. Yeah. Pretty much all of our single family homes are at least at minimum half acre. So community development office has been very busy with permits this year again, doing a lot more single family homes. So, and it's just that's what people want. I mean, I'm not going to take anything away from our neighbors, neighboring communities, but people, when they're looking around, they want to have a nice large lot that they can have a dog, they can have, they can go outside, they can enjoy themselves, they can have a fire pit, they can do a nice garden. And that's what we've kind of seen continuously, gardens and pits and just enjoyable amenities to homes.
And then with that as well comes, you mentioned your first well, I don't know if it's your first foray into the retail business, but you said you've got a Dollar General store coming to the area, and that can provide people with, quick convenience items without having to go to a Rothschild up to Cedar Creek, or even come to Wausau for to a grocery store or to a convenience store, things like that. Are you finding that there's a need for that now as you've grown and developed the village?
Yeah, I think Dollar General is just a great example. They do a lot of research before they even reach out to us, and they looked at our demographics, they looked at our need, and they just thought we were a great fit. And we're really excited to see them come in. And we're going to slowly grow. I mean, again, nothing against our neighbors in Rib Mountain. I think Rib Mountain's a different experience. We want to have a more rural and kind of a relaxed experience. And, it's kind of showing. And there is some infill for commercial and industrial pieces here and there, but it's mostly going to be residential for us. I mean, I always tell folks that, live with us, shop on our neighbors, and, get what you need to, and then come back home and, enjoy the quiet. So
as you go into the future and continue to grow, would there be a research for, say, maybe something like a Quick Trip or a convenience store like that that you might want to put somewhere and possibly along the Interstate 39 area?
I think we've had some interest, some inquiries. I think that's probably something that would be possibly in the cards in the very near future. It's just a matter of if and when, and how people are going to expand. I mean, we've got a great interchange at Maple Ridge, that there's a lot of developable property around there, and that'll probably be something we'll see in the next 5 to 10 years. I think that's just a definite possibility, because again, people want to get off, they want to take care of business and then move on, or they want to come home and take care of business before they go home. And that's just something that's going to happen. Village Crossing, the gas station we have now in the village, is very well utilized. And that's going to probably continue for a while. So, because they brought in a very similar experience to like a Quick Trip, but it's their own product. It's what's called Village Crossing. So they've done very well, I think.
And of course, this is Wisconsin, so we've got to talk about how much we love Quick Trip, right? That's what we do here.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
yes, you get what I'm throwing down there. As you grow and develop and things like that, there is a need for little convenience things that people, right now they may have to drive a ways to get, but as they move out to Kronenwetter, like you said, they might want to pick those up on their way home.
Exactly. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And so it's interesting to see that that development there, and especially in a sector that your village might not be known for right now. So you mentioned like a 5-year plan. Is there anything else that you could you could tell us right now that might be on that plan that you might be looking at here, or might
We're
start some
probably
conversations
we're
about?
probably going to be looking at kind of some internal improvements. We're working on a long-term road improvement plan. The village is looking at a couple of other long-term water improvement plans, some other things. So we'll be, the village is setting ourselves up to look farther out, to really plan and to keep, taxes low, make sure we're spending responsibly, things of that nature. And then just making sure we're setting up for, future pieces for, to make sure everybody has what they need.
Yeah, and speaking of taxes and things like that, we all know that that COVID-19 did have an impact on taxes. How difficult was that putting the budget together this year to make sure you were being good stewards of the taxpayer money?
We've had some nice assistance at the state level for the road to recovery. So we had about a little bit over 120,000 of road to recovery dollars that we were able to basically tap for assistance to the fire department, assistance to the police department. We were able to get some remote equipment so that way employees can remote, board members can be basically interact with the village remotely as well. All of our meetings are now posted on Zoom, so we're very familiar with Zoom now. So and those type of things. As far as the tax rate, or as far as taxes and putting together the budget and things of that nature, the board was, I think, very conservative on things, and again wanted to keep the tax rate very, very steady, because that's one of our claims to fame, is we are one of the lowest tax rates around. And so it wasn't that hard. I mean, we were very fortunate. We were able to bring a lot of things in under budget this year. So the 2021 budget was actually pretty easy to put together. So.
Yeah, I'm sure that's something that's going to be great for the taxpayers to hear. And when they get that little postcard in the mail, that famous Christmas present from the municipality, they'll be probably be very appreciative of the fact that that's been staying steady. And I'll know what that's like here eventually. I just bought a house in Wausau, so looking forward to that first the first postcard to find out if I've got enough in the escrow account to cover that. Before we let you go, we mentioned we did want to ask you a few questions about what your COVID-19 diagnosis and your experience with the disease was like. First off, we are very appreciative of the fact that you are still here. You've been able to survive, and you've come through. We know that there's not a lot of people or a few people that haven't been able to say that. Just give us an idea of what the experience was like for you. And what your message is to residents as it pertains to COVID-19.
I think generally, I think people want to take it as serious as they can. I mean, my experience was I interacted with somebody and they had positive. They contacted me, and so I went out and got tested from a local health provider, and they gave me. They told me I was positive. My experience was very similar to having a kind of a severe cold or the flu, which I don't want to minimize at all the severity of the disease, the severity of of COVID, because I was down for a couple of days. I had to, of course, quarantine. I had to isolate at my home, so I was actually in my bedroom all by myself, and my family was outside, and my wife and I had to kind of mask up. I think the thing that we hear consistently from the health department and everything else, and these are going to be things that aren't going to shock you, is, face coverings are something that it's a seatbelt. It keeps you safe, it keeps me safe, and it prevents the spread of the disease. I mean, if you look at the numbers, we're shooting up, we're skyrocketing, and people just have to be mindful of, the severity of the disease. I still have a cough, even though I'm probably 1 week out from having COVID, and it's probably going to impact me for the rest of my life. I think people want to be mindful of that. It is not something that, I'm just going to go to the store, I'm going to do this. Do I have to wear a mask? That seems to be a lot of put offishness. I always tell people, you drive the speed limit, you wear your seatbelt. Same thing. It's just keeping you and everybody around you safe. It's not, I definitely don't say anything of a political statement. It is something that just keeps people safe. And I know it's an inconvenience, but wearing this is not, That's not, it's uncomfortable. Yes, it's definitely uncomfortable. And I can't wait for the day I no longer have to wear those at work or and at, the grocery store, everything else. But you really just have to kind of be mindful, wear your mask, wash your hands, keep your distance from people. I know that sometimes it's hard to do. And, especially coming up on the holidays, it's going to be very hard to do. I mean, we've had to cancel pretty much all of our holidays. So, but it's something that once you've had it and you've been isolated in your bedroom, especially for 10 days, you start to realize this is serious. So,
Yeah, and again, we're very thankful for the fact that your experience was mild compared to most. But I'm guessing you went to the doctor and got the diagnosis, so there was never any thought of hospitalizing or anything like that. Your symptoms were mild enough to the point where you could maintain them at home, correct?
yeah, because actually I got tested, and then the Marathon County Health Department reached out to me after my positive test, and they kind of walked me through everything. So I do want to, I don't know if you want to call it a shout out, but I do want to, definitely publicly appreciate what they're doing, because they have a monumental task to make sure people are keeping healthy and safe. And they were able to reach, it was like a Saturday night at 6 p.m. I got a phone call from them, and they basically kind of walked me through, made sure, here's what to look for. If this starts happening, here's when you need to go to emergency. And they were just very respectful and, did not waste my time. At the same time, they just walked through the whole thing to make sure I was, staying safe. So I call it a shout out if you want. I think I'm very appreciative of the work that they do.
Yeah, it certainly, gives everybody an idea of what they are going through right now. If they're doing a job like that, which I would say is pretty important at 6 o'clock on Saturday night, a time that a lot of us like to be kicking back with a rack of ribs, cold beverage, and a Badger football game or something like that. It gives you an idea of, I think, for me anyway, just how serious, again, this is, that we have to be doing these things 24/7, basically.
Yeah, and I'm not to make light of the disease, but it came on to me kind of like almost a cold, and I realized when I started losing my sense of smell and things of that nature, that's when it got kind of serious. So I guess I encourage folks, wear a mask, wash your hands, keep your distance. Nothing new there, but it's just, let's just say it one more time. So
yeah, believe me,
but
we are wondering when we can stop saying that as well in this business. I mean, I think it's something that all of us want to put behind us, and that's why I say it's something that we just all got to get on the same team and all got to play ball with it, right?
yeah,
And if it means doing that for a month and a half, so be it. But if we're all going to be better in the long run, I think that's a sacrifice we can make.
yeah, we're all going to go forward together, and that's the only way we can do it. So,
well, is there anything else that you'd like to add then before we let you go today, and before I guess we schedule next November's chat? Correct.
well, first I would, if maybe we can get on before November of next year.
Sure.
But if all of our meetings are now posted on Zoom, you can all connect to them. So if people see it, and they can go on our website, download our agendas, download our packets, and then connect via Zoom. Even if they're only listening in for 10, 20 minutes, or if they want to listen to the audio from previous meetings, we're definitely open to citizens getting involved and getting engaged. So I want to encourage citizens to do that. So, and thank you for your time, and wish you the best for the coming new year. 21 is going to be so much better than 20. We're not even going to know what to do with ourselves.
We are not, is right. I mean, that first time that I get to the Twin Cities under the lights for a Minnesota Twins game, Minnesota United match, it's just going to be
Very good.
It's going to be glorious. We'll put it that way. Glorious.
We're good.
Absolutely. We appreciate the time. Again, continued health to you and yours in the new year, and we'll look forward to chatting again down the road.
You too. Thanks a lot for your time. Appreciate it.
There we go.